You, Heather, over to you. I'll put a 10-minute timer on the screen.
Great. Thank you, Ryan. All right. So I apologize in advance if I have to pause to cough. Um, Heather has a bit of a cold today. Summer colds. All right. So today our topic is, and thank you everybody for joining guests, team members, everybody that came out, profit forward marketing strategies to grow in any economy. I feel like a good number of my clients right now feel uncertain about the economy, and it has a bit of a stressful feel. And so I thought this topic would be very good for everyone to feel like there's a little bit more control that you can have in your business. So our agenda today, we'll talk a little bit about who I am, understanding your profits, focusing on returns, how much to spend on your marketing, how to be more efficient, some low cost activities, some AI time savers, and then some case studies. All right, so let's just jump right in. Who is Heather? So, the reason I'm sick today is my whys. So, this is Marie, Ethan, and Bobby. Although, to be fair to them, I've been in a lot of networking and conferencing, so you never know. I probably picked it up there too. I started out at a small college called MIT. I was a fencer there. I worked in laboratories. I was a scientist for about a decade. Got to travel and work at pharmaceutical companies in cool countries like India and Japan. I graduated in what was one of the worst economies for scientists, other than today. And I switched into sales. I had a small child at the time named Ethan, and I wanted a job that had better hours and better pay. This is me winning my first presidential award as the number one salesperson in my company. I moved on from there to medical device sales, where a lot of my clients at the time needed help with their marketing. And two business partners and I came together to form our first company. But these are the three kids and my husband who really are what I do this for every day. My son Ethan, like Ryan, is at Thomas Jefferson, and man, he has got his last math test today, and he has worked hard this year. It has been a tough year at TJ, but it's amazing to see him fly at even a really tough school. A little bit about BlueHuki. So BlueHuki, if you think of us as taking your company that has maybe you're drifting a little bit, you're not sure what you're doing, you're not sure what's working. BlueHuki can help you get going in the right direction and making more waves in your business. I'm starting today with our values. This might be new for some of the team members on the call. So BlueHuki values: inquisitive, reliably excellent, creative mavericks, and data informed and strategic. These are the values that we hire on. These are the values that we run the business on. And really, this is our secret to success, both for our business and for our clients. And then this is Heather. I have a PhD in biology, but I have 10 plus years and probably should put 15 at this point of sales training, digital marketing experience, and web design experience. Okay, so let's start with a poll. Um, these are three companies, and these are their earnings and gross profit margins over the last couple of years. Now, this is not meant to be hard, and it might be a little bit hard, but put in the chat who you would want to buy. Would you want to buy Microsoft, Google, or Amazon? And the lines that you're seeing are their profit margins, and the bars that you're seeing are their revenue. And keep in mind, there might not be like a completely, solid answer on this one. There might be a little bit of a leeway here. So, what does everybody think? Google, Amazon, Google. All right, we've got a good diversity, which I wanted us to have a little controversy, right? Um, and so if you look at some of the profit margins, right? Microsoft has about, at this time of that they were measuring about 200 billion in revenue, and their profit margin was around 70%. Google is running around 250 billion, their profit margin's running around 70%-ish. Amazon is running at about 400 billion, and their profit margin is just about 15%. So if I were making a decision, I would be looking more at kind of what is their gross profit margin, but also what is the growth of that profit margin? Are they going up? And this is very subtle, but Google is going slightly up in its profit margin in addition to its revenue going up. Microsoft's flat, so its revenue's gone up, but its profit margin has not. And Amazon looks like has had a little bit of an issue with its profit margin. So it's gone up in revenue, but its profit margin has gone down. So, what that tells you though is that regardless of what the economy is doing, right? And regardless actually of what the revenue of these companies is doing, their profit is doing something else, right? And that's something to always watch on in a business. So, what does it mean to be optimizing by profit, right? So, if you're looking at what a company is spending in order to get to their maximum profit possible, the idea is to be at the apex, right? You don't want to be at a place where you're making less profit, but you're either spending more money or making more money, right? And you also don't want to be on the curve going up, which means you haven't fully maximized your potential, right? So, how do you do that from a marketing perspective? So, here's 4 tips for how to do that from a marketing perspective: focus on returns, spend efficiently, low cost activities, and AI time savers. How much should you be spending? So this depends a little bit on your industry, but this gives you an idea of a bunch of different industries and what their overall budget is spent on marketing. So you can see like retail, so AKA Amazon, spends the most on marketing, whereas something like energy spends the least on marketing. But this gives you an idea for your industry of your revenue. Are you actually spending somewhere around 10 to 15% of your revenue on marketing or marketing like activities? Where's the best return on investment? Some of you are familiar with this one. Public speaking, organic SEO, email, and webinars tend to dominate this space as to where you can get the best return on investment. But a lot of this depends on how you're doing it. So, like, PPC SEM is one of the lowest here, but it really depends on how you're running that campaign. So, some cost saving tactics. Let's spend efficiently. How do you spend? So now we know you have to spend about 10%. Well, 70% of that budget that you've allocated should be on something that's tried and true, meaning something you know works in your business. The other 20% should be on something that's a safe bet that you know is probably going to work really well. And the last 10% should be saved for something that's new that you've never tried before. And the idea here is to find if you can find some gold in new activities or new ideas in your marketing. Okay, now this is my personal opinion on how to spend. The bottom of the funnel. So if you're a small business, you should be focused on this very specific bottom of the funnel. And you see there's a cost associated with each level of the funnel. So when you're more generic doing larger advertising activities, it's much cheaper for the amount of awareness. But it may not be actual leads that you're getting in front of. And so I really love, and BlueHuki's really great at the bottom of the funnel activities. Let's get the people in the door that are more likely to do business with you and reach out. And then this is one of our kind of constant improvement philosophies at the company, which is to say, you see this circular idea here. The idea is that you never stay still, especially when you're running your marketing activities. You're constantly improving what you're doing. All right, let's talk about the lowest cost activities. Email, grassroots on social media, organic SEO, networking, reviews, and ease of booking are all things that cost you very little as a business, but can help you get better returns from your marketing.
Humans.
One example of this is something called content repurposing. So if you spent time making a blog post, what are a bunch of different ways that you can repurpose that content and save money? And you can see there's a lot. Infographics, videos, etc., right? All right, last one. AI time savers. So, AI could save you up to about an hour a day, and these are some examples: idea generation, utilizing data, optimizing delivery, spotting your weaknesses, training the AIs that are running your campaigns, and improving your creatives. But don't go overboard. I recently published a study that showed that people find AI in advertising to be scary, and that's true for marketing too. You'll get a lot of engagement, but mostly because people don't like AI and don't like to see it in ads. Go ahead and scan this if you have your phone available. If you'd like the ultimate AI tech cheat sheet, these are some AI technologies that you can use in your business that will help you save time and or money. And these are some things to just explore, do some research on. So some key takeaways from my talk today. Number one is you need to understand your competitors and your spend. So you got to start there with a budget, right? Number two is to set some goals for yourself. So set goals for what you'd like to do with your marketing and make it measurable. Identify AIs and humans that can help. Choose your strategy, execute your strategy, monitor and refocus your spend as you get results, and continuously measure results. Number six and seven, you probably should be doing all the time, right? Because one thing that worked yesterday does not mean it works today. So, what is a winning strategy worth? These are some examples from campaigns that we've taken over or clients that we've worked with. One had a 90% reduction in lead cost. That was a huge campaign for a painter in El Paso, Texas. A 300% increase in web traffic, 5x increase in their local rankings, and a 10x conversion increase by just redoing your website. All right, and last one is if you need help, we're here for you. So, if you have a tip that you'd like to share with everybody, either something that you found from your marketing that works or something that you would like to share with the group, please drop it in the chat. Otherwise, I also dropped my info in the chat, and I'm happy to talk to anybody on the call. Thank you so much.
All right, awesome. Let's give it up for Heather. Great presentation. Super